You did a 10-year study on the impact of the ketogenic diet on a patient that had type 1 diabetes. I think this is most certainly the longest study ever done of its type, where you took one individual and over 10 years you, I guess, controlled their diet.
So we had access to the ability to monitor a unique patient who had type 1 diabetes. And they were diagnosed and had followed the American Diabetes Association diet, a healthy diet, for 6 years, and then switched over in 2013 to a ketogenic diet. Upon the initiation of the diet and post, they had DEXA scans. They controlled their calorie intake, their body composition. They weren't taking any additional medications. And we were able to monitor the impact over a 10-year period while controlling all those variables. And why that's so important is because one of the common concerns of a ketogenic diet is the hypothetical risk it can increase cardiovascular disease. And the reason that they think that it can increase cardiovascular disease, or it's hypothesized that it will, is because of the elevation in LDL that often accompanies an increase in saturated fat in the diet. Now, saturated fat comes from things like animal proteins. It's in coconuts as well. What we found is that despite a near doubling in LDL cholesterol on this diet, which again should be associated with worsening cardiovascular health, we did an advanced cardiovascular assessment in this patient and found that despite doubling LDL, they had maintained completely normal glycemic control, which again, based on all the data, says is the number one risk factor. They reduced their insulin load over 40%. And their cardiovascular health was not only better than the average patient of similar age and sex with type 1 diabetes, it was better in almost every single category than people even without type 1 diabetes, despite the doubling of LDL cholesterol. It illustrated that over a 10-year period, it maintained not only no sign of cardiovascular disease, but remarkable cardiovascular health. And in fact, we actually followed on that study with the largest ever analysis of the impact of nutrition, particularly carbohydrates, in over 46,000 patients with type 1 diabetes. We showed that in over 70% of all reports of very low carbohydrate ketogenic diets, that patients were completely able to normalize their glucose control, normalize the most potent risk factor for the disease of type 1 diabetes.
And this is a sort of a spectrum of